So here's the thing. If you are absolutely interested in saving money and you want to know how to navigate the March Madness, you need to pay attention because we're going to go over some super critical elements. We're going to talk about the inventory and what we're trending and what's not happening, along with what's going on with the mortgages, because that is going to be a big deal. We will have chapters set up into this, so the team does a great job. So a shout out to my team. Thank you for all the hard work that you do every single week, helping to answer questions and, of course, help our clients and whatnot. So anyway, a big shout out. Thank you very much. It is much appreciated on a global level. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about what the heck is going on. So we mentioned March Madness in the video, and that is because we are seeing still a massive uptick in activity. The spring market is, without a doubt, it's truly taken off, all right? And our inventory absolutely suffering. It's staggering how much it's suffering. So again, for those folks that are new to the channel, and make sure you subscribe, okay? It just tells us that you like it, that you like the information because it's free, but it helps others to be able to see it so they can make a really good business decision for their families also. Because that's all this is about. The goal is to educate you, to get you in the mindset of what do we need to do to make the best decision for ourselves and for our families. That's all this is. So subscribe, ring that little bell so that you're notified when we come on market, because we also have some really cool features coming up, doing with inspections and things to look for on a home, things, you know, as far as maintenance and whatnot. We're having a lot of fun. We're getting ready. Some of the vendors get a little squirrely, but they're excited about it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the market. Now, it has been, as far as inventory goes, super, super low. Right now we have, I believe it's 3,600 homes, 3,700 homes. We should normally have about 12, 14, 16,000 homes right about now, as few as 10,000. So you can tell we are like super struggling on inventory. Every Friday is a massive list date. And so we see a big jump. So you guys, when we see, you know, like this number here, new on market, 1,389. Well, it normally bobbles around 582 of late up until Friday as our 7-day running average. And so as we look at these numbers, we took a pretty healthy jump. We took about just shy of 800 homes just as far as a daily running average for the average 7-day, the average seven-day running average. I knew I could say it. All right, so that was a big jump. Now, you might say, well, that's pretty good. Okay, but that's not just in your area. Okay, so we're talking about the entire Northwest MLS. Canadian border, out to the coast, you know, Hoquiam, Cosmopolis. Funny little town, but a great place. Great credit union down there. And parts of Eastern Washington, and of course the Olympic, parts of the Olympic Peninsula. It's a massive area. And to have, well, 500 additional homes is not a big deal, unfortunately. So when we take a look at these numbers here, and we take a look at them here, so we had 1,389 that came on market. That's new, meaning the seller said, yes, I am selling my house. Perfect. But we had 1,577 that went pending, meaning a buyer and seller agreed to terms, and that came off the market. Well, that's good, but bummer for the buyers out there. But note, we took off more than what we brought on, which has been a pattern for a long time. We've been dwindling and chink, ka-chink, 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 just like the chain on the anchor going down. That chain just goes out at one link at a time. We're getting less and less inventory. We have less and less chain, or less and less wind, as what it was last week. So when we come up here, we say year over year, okay? So remember, 2021, record setter, which was better than 2020. 2022 is, again, outpacing 2021. Why? Fear of missing out, FOMO. We have interest rates, which have been on the rise. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And inventory is still absolutely struggling. And as you know, when there's a higher desire for gain, when there's a sense of loss. For sellers out there, listen to that message very clearly. There's a higher desire for gain when there is a sense of loss. That's why auctioneering is so effective. So if you're a seller and you're on the fence, get off the fence, because right now, buyers will come to your house in droves. Now, that doesn't mean you can be stupid crazy on price at all. In fact, the buyers are super smart. And that's why we see expireds and cancels even today, which is silly. You should never see that, ever. Anyway, so we had a total increase year over year of 600 homes, or a 19.5% increase. Funny enough, that number and that number new on market matched, okay? We come over here, naturally it's the same. This is month over month, 2021 versus 2020. As far as year to date, new on market, we're up 0.8%, roughly about 100 homes. Over here, month over month, it was 220 homes. So right about pretty close. Here our pendants are down just a little bit, which is about 1,400 homes. And it's not because people are pulling back. It's not because, interest rates have been going up. There just is not enough inventory for these folks to glom onto. When we take a look at it here, we're actually up year over year. We're up 30 homes. Not many, but it's 30. It's still up for the month of March specific. Here, we're down 11.3%, or about 400 homes as far as total homes sold year to date, year over year, okay? Over here, we're down, it's only 170 homes. Why? Holy smokes, look at our inventory, it's just struggling. If we have more inventory, we will definitely see better numbers. Okay, now this translates into a few different things. One of them is, if we have more inventory, we would actually be able to get more sold properties. That's common sense. But there are folks out there that are saying, oh, George, I'm waiting for the market to go down. It's going to go down. Dude, hear me now. Believe me later. What is that? Hans and Franz, Saturday Night Live, right? Listen to me now. Believe me later. Okay, so understand. You must understand this. There is not enough inventory to have a market crash. Look, we have 7 days of inventory, 11 days of inventory, depending on what day of the week. Friday we have 11, the rest of the day we have 7. That's not enough inventory. When we had a market crash, we had 13 months, 14 months. We have 0.4 months, 0.3 months of inventory. We're nowhere near as able to have a market crash. I mean, unless we have, something cataclysmic, then that's a little bit different. Then there's a bigger issue to worry about. So as in fact, some folks are saying, George, what about this shadow inventory of foreclosures? Well, let me educate you on something, because we do work with a number of banks on a daily basis. Well, mostly credit unions, because they're awesome. So here's the thing. We have reached the same level of default as we did in 2020 of 3.3%. And you might say, okay, well, what does that mean? That's like the lowest. 2020 had the lowest default rate in like decades, okay? Like almost ever, at 3.3%. We are at that point right now. So understand, first mortgage default rates are 3.3%, which is super, super low, which is awesome. Why? Because we have equity. It is so dynamically different than where we were at in 2008 through about 2013. Totally different market, totally different circumstances. On average, did you guys know this? On average, across the United States, okay, not here in Seattle on the east side where the numbers, we many times can add a zero. Just kidding. It's $187,000 average. That means the little towns and the big towns, all of those averaged out, $187,000 of equity on average with the average homeowner, because I guess they're average. Anyway, that's huge. Back in 2008, we were minus equity. We were 15, 20% underwater based on values versus what sales prices were and whatnot. That's why there were so many short sales and the mortgage bailout and everything else. Well, there was more to that one. We won't get into that. So understand, completely different experience, completely different scenario. So if you're expecting some mayhem, crash, and doom, unless something, again, cataclysmic happens. And who knows, when we talk about what's going off yonder in the Ukraine and whatnot, we'll see what happens. Anyway, these numbers are still going to stay solid, and your investment is still going to be solid. In fact, mortgage rates, pay attention. This is super important. Remember when we talked about in prior episodes, in fact, 5 questions you need to ask regarding mortgage rate, super critical right now. And I'll have them post that. Super critical to know those 5 questions so that you are getting quoted accurate information. All right? Because here's the thing. Right now, there's a lot of volatility. If you haven't heard, it's a lot of volatility in the market based on the international scale. The big investors have been pulling out of the market, going back into mortgage-backed securities, going into treasuries, going into bonds, giving that a big bolus of funds, which means that the bond rates and the treasury and the mortgage-backed securities have been going up versus coming down. See, there's been a lot of confidence in the market, and so they were pulling out of bonds and treasury mortgage-backed securities and going into the market, raising the volatility, lowering the value of the bond. Interest rates started going up. Went from 3.75 all the way up to, yes, believe it or not, a week ago or so, 4.75, only stayed there for a little bit of time, boop, popped back down to about 4.125, 3.99, 3.75, because it's been bobbling along. But understand, with the volatility that's going on, for those of you that are looking at locking in your mortgage rate, pay attention, because that means the investors are moving into the mortgage-backed securities and bonds. Those rates are going to come down. Costs will come down. Pay attention to those every single day, multiple times during a day. Remember, what you get quoted in the morning could be totally different in the afternoon. You need to watch those trends. Make sure that you are solid. Pick a lender and stick with them. It's the smartest thing. Once you select a lender, stick with them, and they will help monitor when should you lock. Boom, so you can hit that lowest rate, lowest fees, things like that. All right. For those of you that have HELOCs, adjustable rates on credit cards, which is, if you have a credit card, you have a business loan that is a prime plus, if it's a revolving type of credit and whatnot, just understand, Jerome Powell said he is still, even though he's cautious, he is going to raise those rates 25 basis points. 25 basis points means 0.25%. So that means if you have a HELOC and it adjusts every single month, like many of them do, whoop, it's going to go up. If you have any type of revolving credit, that's what they affect. They do not, however, affect mortgage rates. Okay, just clarification. So par pricing today, 4.125, no points. You can get to 3.99, paying I think a half a point. Okay, non-owner occupied. Hey, we warned you guys. It was going up. March 19th. But it's already started to hit 5.125, no points. That is non-owner occupied. The cost for getting that down is not hugely onerous, but it is still advantageous. There are still benefits. Those rates are still amazingly low. All right. Is the market going to continue to move forward over the next few months? The answer is absolutely yes. Are we going to see more inventory because of a shadow inventory? Forbearances coming on, foreclosures coming out? No. Now, we're seeing default rates at historic lows. So do not anticipate, don't be thinking we're going to hit some melting crash. In fact, I was chatting with Doug the other day, and he and I were, bonk, 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 trying to hit him with the logic hammer. He's like, dude, I think I should wait. I should wait to buy a home. And I'm like, okay, why? He's like, well, I think prices are going to come down. Like you said, prices are going to come down in about 2 years, 2.5 years. I said, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. So let's be clear what I said. Last year, we saw 14% appreciation. Said this year, we're going to see a little bit of a slowdown, partly because of interest rates. Now, key the word slow down. I didn't say prices going down. I said slow down. Inventory is an issue, and interest rates are an issue. Okay? They're going to slow down. There's not enough inventory to say prices are going to go down. So we're going to see 10 to 12% appreciation this year. We might bump over a little bit, but between 10 and 12. Next year, I think it's going to slow down. Not go down, slow down. And unless we see a marketable increase in inventory to get back up to, a healthy market's 3 to 6 months or 4 to 6 months of inventory. We're at 0.4, and until we get closer to that point, we're not going to see any kind of significant difference in pricing. It will continue to appreciate, probably 8 to 10% in 2023, and then 2024, we might see a little bit more slowing, right? 4 to 8% appreciation, all right? Depending on where interest rates are at. Notice that price is not coming down. It's just not going up as fast. Then we're going to hit our next level. We're going to see a double-digit appreciation. So note, if you wait and you think, oh my gosh, they're going to come down. Okay, let's talk about this. So if even if we go up just 5% every year, that's on a $500,000 house, that's $25,000 more next year than this year. But wait a second, if interest rates are on their way up and going to be heading into the 5%, you're losing ground. You're losing money. Your ability to buy is less than what you can afford today, which is still at a better price. Even if we saw a 2%, 3%, 5% depreciation 3 years from now, let's say it goes down, market values come down 5%. If you've seen a 14%, a 12%, an 8%, and a 10%, or even a 6%, and then your 5% reduction, you're still money ahead. So the logic doesn't play out. So buying today at lower pricing and lower interest rates is a far superior idea. So stick with the game. Those folks that think that we're going to see a massive reduction, hey, I don't see it happening. I've been doing this and doing market updates since 2007, actually before that, but kind of like this in 2007. You'll see we have hundreds of videos. Hey, listen, we've been spot on. We're pretty proud of our track record, and we're consistent. Besides, again, the goal is to give you the best information possible for you and your family. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Pay attention to mortgage rates. Watch what's going internationally. If you have not locked in, remember, you can only lock in after you have mutual acceptance on a purchase and sale agreement. Once you have that, you can lock in. Watch the rates. Be very mindful of those rates because it will translate into tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. You guys have a beautiful day. It is stellar today. I will see you guys on the next video. Ask your questions. Make sure you guys subscribe, okay? It, again, helps others to see the information that you are also benefiting from, and it's free. There you go. I'll catch you later. Take care.